All right. So, yeah, it relates with data, and this feels a little bit like experimental. Obviously, there's certain best practices around how to manage data. Um, but what we're discussing is whether we should ever need to do to set up a static database. And the reason for that, and what I mean by static database is like any database where you do the whole entity modeling, you like model what entities there are and how they relate, and then that's like the database schema. And then once you've got the schema, you can build the app and write and read the data to it and from it. And with the software that we've got for Prisma so far, doesn't have any database like that. And Carlos is saying we should maybe set one up. And I'm thinking, yeah, probably we should. But then I have a resistance because of this whole like regenerative approach of trying to be working on everything in an ongoing manner. And so there's another type of database which is called a queue, which basically just is a list of certain messages that happens. And that feels to me more in line with how we're approaching work as well. If you're wondering where is this going, don't worry. The question at the end will basically be, what do you think? So just hold that in mind. And there's no right or wrong answer. Like I don't really feel sure about this myself, so it's just a point of discussion. Um, so with this in mind, I've been trying to think about how can I make a meaningful contribution to this discussion? Because me and Carlos are kind of going back and forth, like, no, we do need it. No, we don't need it. Yeah, we do need it. No, we don't need it. And so I've come up with a triad, which basically just means three things that go together like a triangle. Just thought this off the top of my head the other day, and so it might be a load of nonsense. The triad is the following three things. One, the developer experience. Two, the system flows of the systems that you're working on. And three, I wrote production state, but really I think I mean the apps in production. So, with that being said, should we try and make sense of this? Um, some possible questions to get things started off could be, why is, if we bring those three together, what is it at the core that we're speaking to by bringing them together? Um, is that the most essentialized set of things that we need to meaningfully work on systems in this way? And is any of it making sense? The idea, yeah, is any of it making sense? Let me say one last thing to try and sort of make it a bit more understandable. I want you to picture this. We, both of you are familiar with the work that we're trying to do of incubating interdisciplinary teams that are working on local systems. And if you bring yourself into the shoes of one of those team members, it's from that perspective that this triad might be relevant. Because picture this, you're a developer, you're working on local systems as part of a team, and you need to build something that makes that work visible. Those three things come together because on the one hand, you're building the app to process the data. On the other hand, the app is being used to work on systems, like real systems in the local context. And those systems are evolving and dynamic and changing. And so that's the systems flows part. Let me write these down. But the third thing is the developer experience themselves, because they themselves are they're engaging with living systems by doing that work. So that's why I thought if we bring all of those three together, is that whole? Is that the most essentialized list of things to describe that work? So that if we keep bringing those three together as we're doing that work, that's how it will sort of maintain its vitality.
Well,
Alfred,
thank you. Certainly, certainly, yes. I feel to maximize the potential of the systems, I think bringing them together should be the should be the first choice. You know, because yeah, speaking in abstract. So, but I'm trying to connect it to the actual discussion, which is let's say for example, the what is it called, the potentialized app where there is where you visual the ops, the teams, partners, and and then the um, documentation tooling that ops uses, right? And then the developers, that's the app, right? And so developers experience in using this, like let's say our personal hub, we were able to like not use the repo, that we forked from the Prisma repo. So we had to like push it back to our own repo. That's you know that cut a flow in the process due to our own developer experience. Maybe it was having issues pushing it back to that repo and kind of push it to his own repo, to have that's his own personal experience. So that has caused a break in the system. So I said like we should look for a way, to connect this process together. I think that is where we now have to like okay reach out to each developers, each person handling their documentation, reach out to them, and also bring them together in one room. And if we could discuss on how we could connect all this together, because the system works best if it's all together. Because if you should create a kind of, I think it will even be more laborious if we should create a kind of static data.
damn, we lost him. Okay, let's wait for him to come back.
Yeah,
Echo, do you want to share anything in the meantime? We jumped right
so
into
I believe
something.
that,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think from what Alfred was, from the illustration you gave in regards to we knowing what you want to achieve at the end of the day and trying to should I say get a vital, I don't know, vital like subcategories to achieving it. That's how come you came up with the three relevant pointers. So the developer, the systems, and the app too. And I think it captures literally everything because initially I was also thinking of the end user at the end of the day, the end user. But I realized that the end user will fall under the app place because and it's the triangle is going such a way that they are going both in and out of each other. So like for instance, the developer and the systems will be feeding each other. At the same time, the developer and the app would also be feeding each other. It's not like developer then goes to systems then go to the app, then the app will come back to the system, then we go back to the developer. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the point
Yeah,
about the user is also interesting. That's a perspective I hadn't thought of, I think. Let's go back to Alfred. He was mid-flow.
because at the end of the day,
Mm.
yeah,
Sorry, Echo. Go on if you want to. All right, Alfred.
Okay. Sorry, like my network went out. Yeah. So, well, to know I'm on the right track, the analogy I made, like the connection I made it to what you said, is that correct? Are you referring to the connections of the app between the the documentation app and Prisma and how it's being projected, visualized in the so like am I getting that right? Is that what you are trying to say?
Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, more or less. And I think it relates specifically with data. Um, because I was I was struggling to get my point across to Carlos of why trying to build these systems so that the data is always moving feels more alive than if we were to um, build a system where we define the database beforehand and then we just kind of write the data there. To give you an example, the enrollment forms are really tangible. Alfred, you have a actually you both have a direct experience of this. Um, because Echo did the enrollment forms for Accra in May, back in May. By the way, I'm so excited that you're both in the same room. I can't wait to introduce you to each other. We'll do that in a second. Um, but the enrollment forms are used to basically onboard different types of people into this process. And we might use multiple forms for one type of person at different stages to address different stages of needing to collect information. One example is the hubs. We had that first form to also let me turn my video back on so the recording has something. Um, the first form was used to collect basic sign up information for the hubs, like what's your name, where are you based, stuff like that. Then we got further into the process and we wanted to collect the deployment links for the hub's documentation
Stabs,
sites
hello?
and
Stabs, sorry
yeah,
to cut you short.
no worries.
Abdul said is in the waiting room.
I thought that might be what it is, yeah. Let me see. Um okay, then he's in a different room. Let me send it.
Oh, okay.
Uh let me see. Oh, he might have been there for a while. Sorry. Um, so yeah, he'll be joining now, I think. These meeting links are so causing. We're really bad at meeting links. Anyway, then we got further into the process, and the hubs had set up their infrastructure, and we said to them, we now need to collect the deployment links. So we sent a deployment links form. We just sent that directly in the group chat and asked people to fill it out, but we could have had it as like a second stage of hub enrollment. Hey Kamal, welcome. Okay, I'll keep going. And we didn't know ahead of time that we wanted to use that second form to collect the deployment links. But because so far the system is very easy to adapt, because the database isn't fixed ahead of time, we just push it to a queue and then we just use the queue. It's kind of made so you can chain together all of these different lists and different transformations, but it could get quite messy as well. So that's an example of how it would have been much more static to define the database before we'd started the process and say, we're going to ask them this information at this time. We're going to ask them this information at this time. Instead of doing that, we were in response to how the process is going to say, boom, we need to ask this information now that we didn't know beforehand. And to bring it full circle, and I'll repost it in the chat in case they can't see it. So, oops, wait, not that. To come full circle, the app state in production had to change. Carlos was saying, but if the database changes, then the app will break. So that's why I was trying to bring these different pieces all together to say they're one whole. They all connect together. And if you're working on those three at the same time, then the thing kind of stays coherent. And the developer experience side of that is to say, like from my perspective as the developer working on that, I was seeing the system had moved to a different state so the app needed to change to keep up with that, and that unlocked new data to flow as well. Before, the data had kind of done the first phase, and then it was just there. So the developer, the app, and the system were all having to come together. It's kind of like, feels a bit abstract still, but is it resonating at all? Echo and Alfred, and welcome to Abdul Rahman and Kamal again.
Yeah, it's making sense and resonating. I understand it, and yeah, I kind of understand what you're talking about more clearer now, because first the app, it's a constant changing environment, because it's responding to the current situation. What you are looking at the environment, and okay, this is what is needed to be done. So the full data points or data we'll be needing is not yet identified. It will be identified in the future. So we can't create a static database at the moment. It's something that I have to keep flowing. So I don't know. I don't have enough technical knowledge on how one could go about that. But what I was thinking is, um, can't each obs, in their doc, can they build an API endpoint where you could fetch at any point any data you need? You could just tell them, okay, since there's a template, you could tell them that, okay, this particular two templates, based on the kind of information you need in, should not be changed. Like, okay, let's say you need your team information. So use this one template, and so that when you have a new team, the updates just go there and update like that new team, and then you could always fetch data that you need from that particular endpoint. So in the future, so with that, it's a constant flow. You could also always
Yeah.
fetch data from there. So I don't know if that is possible technically, because I'm also thinking it's not possible
Mm.
because most hubs now, I think apart from our own hub that we are deploying it on our own domain because we have a website already. So I think most hubs are deploying it on Vercel, and since Vercel is a free tool, I'm not sure creating an API endpoint would be possible. I don't know. So correct me if I'm wrong.
It's definitely possible. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Um, yeah, I like your thinking. Yeah. Whether it would be in the docs or what also came to mind was the app that we used for the enrollment forms, which, yeah, basically the enrollment app. Because you could register teams there. And then with every form submission, which would be one team, that sends the data somewhere else. And the hub could host that registration app. And then automatically with the API, it could send it to another place. Yeah. Cool. Echo, anything you want to bring in at this point before we transition into another stage of the call?
No, I think with what I was saying, but I believe Alfred has also like made some stuff a bit clearer too from his contribution.
Actually, can I we could use UrbanLink as an example. I think it's a really strong example. Could we do that?
Oh yeah, why not?
Okay, so I'll try and ask you a question. Do you have developers in your team presently, or if they're on standby, can you easily picture them, like Desmond, for example? Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're on standby. We have like three of them, but they're on standby.
Wow, cool. 3 developers, that's awesome. Um, all right, so could you describe the systems that you're working on?
Okay, in regards to like building the app at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you can describe the systems in terms of how they are, like, in terms of the place. And then you can also, the follow-up question would be, okay, so what app are you building to work on those systems?
I don't get your second question.
Okay,
Like the second question
so
in regards to like the apps you have.
yeah, so you're building the UrbanLink app to work on the systems of the transport in Accra,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah,
Like that.
yes, yeah.
So can you just set the context
Yeah.
for us?
Okay, so the systems we need to put in place is one, the from the physical side, that is like the physical bus, like getting like the buses of the getting buses for people to be conveyed was the first part. The second part is the payment system. Fortunately, I think the bus company even has like a partner that has a payment system, but we are still deliberating on whether which one to go. Either we'll build our own system or we'll go with that one. And the third one is the app itself. That's like the technical, the front end and the back end of the app. So with the front end is basically with what the user will be using, like in scheduling the ride, um demonstrating that they've been able to onboard the ride after onboarding the payment too. And with the backend, it's strictly for storing like data on the Cardano blockchain too. So these are like some of the systems. And with, for instance, with the backend, front end too, they usually would be working with the UI UX design. So whenever we implement like a version of the app, depending on the depending on the feedback we get from our customers, then we would implement probably another version too. So the UI UX person would be working closely with both the user and also the ones who will be building like the front end and the back end too. So these are like some of the structures that we've put in place currently.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was hearing in what you were saying when you were describing the payment system and the front and the back end, the UI, the UX, that for me all feels like systems within the app as an overall system. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I want to highlight that it might be possible still to talk about the systems of the place that the app is being built for.
Okay.
So could you describe how you're holding those systems of like what the app is being built for, the systems of the place?
Okay, so for the system of the place, as I mentioned, one thing we notice is that there's usually the rush hour traffic is what is the headache currently. So we know that the time from 6 o'clock to 8 a.m., 6 o'clock a.m. to 8, sorry, probably 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. is when our audience or customers would be ready, and also 4 p.m. to somewhere around 7 p.m.
Yeah,
is
you
where
guys
our
get up
customers be.
early.
So
I remember that. Always at
yeah,
the start of the day, it was like early risers. Everything gets going
yeah,
very
very
early.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because of the system in that particular place, automatically we would have to build our settling app to be working around that time frame. So anything that happens before and after is more or less like up to the driver. But if it is to work with us, 6 o'clock to 5 o'clock to 8 a.m., meaning we are active, like we are currently like working into. The second one is that in Ghana, most of us are still skeptical about crypto payments. And now it's even worse because of how like volatile the whole crypto industry is currently. Today it is up, tomorrow it is down. And with an African mentality, no audience or customer will be happy seeing like such a thing. So we'll be forced to use the fiat for like exchanges. And so with our system, like that's the internal system, payments will be normal with the fiat, like the Ghana cedis or maybe your credit card. But to also satisfy Cardano, these transactions would be made like the equivalent of either would be recorded on a blockchain. So because of the character of these Ghanaians, or because of the character of my people, that is not they not being familiar with this whole crypto payments. We will be forced to also use fiat payments too. So in regards to our payment system, so that's like one for the system, the police. That's one for like our payment system, and second is the time of operation too. So these are like the two main systems that we have when it comes to the police too.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, and so now you've spoken about the systems of the app, you've spoken about the systems of the place. Um, what about the developer experience? How is how does how do the developers need to be engaging themselves in the work for this to be um, participatory, or for it to be truly responsive to what is alive? Um, yeah.
Mm. Come over
And
again. I didn't get you.
if you bring yourself into the shoes of the developers,
Okay.
what would be some of the ways that they would need to be working for this work to remain vitalized, for it to really be in touch with its environment, and um, for it to be dynamic and not just become static and flat?
Okay, so I think to begin with, before our official release, the developers will be working like on a pilot. So the pilot program, we intend on using it at a very close area. When I say close, it means more or less like a place where external factors are under control. So for example, an airport, a school, a hospital, um, the mall, like a shopping mall. Yeah, these places are more or less like a enclosed area, so the external factors are a bit more controlled. Not like you can make provisions for external factors too. So with our pilots program, we'll be getting volunteers to test our app like at each stage, so that whenever there is something, as I said, at the end of the day, is the user. Provided your user is comfortable with what they are using to solve their problem, then you can always make it better, or you can always just maintain it. So that's what our pilot phase is going to target. That these users would be working directly with the developers. Okay, um, probably if I'm trying to book my um book my the ride or the schedule my bus, I realize that it takes more than 5 minutes to get it ready. So like meaning the developers are supposed to work on the booking time too. Like how fast the booking time could be. If it could be better, probably reduce it to maybe 40 seconds or something. So or the UX design is trashy or overly technical for an average Ghanaian. So like these kind of things would be our focus when it comes to the pilot program too. So before it comes out in the we would have done our homework through the pilot phase with the developers, so that we can like resolve most of our major headaches that we encountered during like the pilot phase before it comes out official. And by the time we are launching it, we would have solved probably 80 to 90% of like an everyday Ghanaian user problem. Yeah, so I think that's where the developer would be able to implement strategies that would fit the police or like systems of the police.
Yeah, amazing, amazing, man. I wrote down users linked developers. Um, that really stood out for me because I've experienced a similar kind of thing where I've started to feel like in order to work on these very participatory systems effectively, the developers need to come a lot closer to the users to almost be able to see from from a perspective from within the systems themselves, so they can really see where the friction points are and how to make the user experience as fluent as smooth as it can be. This is different to, I mean, I'm trying to think conventionally. We're like an average approach, like something that's not very sensitive to really addressing the user experience. It might design something from within the software development department, or like some department within the project comes up with the design of what they think the users are going to do, what they think the users are going to find helpful. They design it, they implement it, and then they start marketing the app and trying to bring users on board. But what you're describing, Echo, which you're intuiting very clearly, very well, which I've felt similarly, is that the developers need to be participating in the system themselves in a way. And so you as a team, you're actually working from within the systems, from within the system flows. So that's why that's how the system flows and the developer experience could relate, for example. And then the app is the third point to kind of instrument that work further to evolve those systems. Okay, the reason why triads are also helpful, I think, is because they help to discern, which I'm meaning like to get very clear in your thinking about this is that kind of domain, that's that domain, that's that domain, and actually sensing into where the boundaries of those domains are so that you can be very clear on what the relationships are is a very important practice to clarify your own thinking so that you can work in an orderly manner. Because as I'm sure you're very aware, Echo, there's a huge amount of complexity involved in working with systems, right? So because of that complexity, it's very important to always discern as clearly as possible how things are organized in the real world and also how they need to be organized in the systems that we're building. Cool. Thank you. Thanks for engaging on that exercise. I know it was very abstract, but I think the points that you brought were helping to make it a lot more tangible as well. And that was very experimental. Like I said, I literally just thought of that in the last few days based off of discussions with Carlos, because we were talking about data and this whole philosophy of should we build things so that the data is always moving so that we don't really have any predefined data store. And yeah, that was interesting. Okay, so this kind of speaks to the quality we're trying to create in these calls, these studio sessions, where it's a place to bring relatively rugged and unpolished concepts and ideas, and it's a fail-friendly environment. So you can come and try something out, experiment, and be like, whoa, well, this wasn't what I thought was going to happen, and that's okay. Or maybe test something very early stage and you get some very early feedback that is super valuable or something. So you carry it further forward. But yeah, so that was the wake up exercise. Turned into a little bit longer than a few minutes. We can now open up for the rest of the session. I think a good way to start would be to do a quick round of introductions because we have some new faces in the room. And like I said before, I'm excited for Echo and Alfred to get to know each other. And yeah, so let's start with a round of intros and then we can build a quick agenda of who wants to bring certain things into the session, and then we'll try and use the time as effectively to cover as much as possible. Who would like to go first? I'm not going to do an intro.
Okay, let me go first.
That's
So
fine.
yeah, good morning, everyone. It's morning from our end also, and I'm also guessing it's morning from everyone's end. Yeah, because I kind of know Tab's time zone now. It's in morning. Mr. Adin is in Ghana. It's also morning, and Mr. Abdurrahman. So I'm guessing you're also in Ghana. So it's morning. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. I'm Alfred Tudole, and yeah, the up lead from Zaria. That's Project Genius Up. And yeah, me and Mr. Adin have kind of like, I think we have met once, I think in Spaces, and so we also chatted in Telegram, but then we haven't had time to actually like sat down and had long discussion. And then the word is a small word. We met again here in Prisma. I think when we met the first time we had any interaction was doing the Project Catalyst funding 14. So and since then I haven't had time because I'm still lots of stuff and coming to come and chat. Especially, okay, my most active messaging app is WhatsApp. And so any other app, Telegram, X, it takes time for me to come back and reply, except I'm coming to come and do something very urgent that I can't snap. So that is why. So I'll share my number with Mr. Adin. So on WhatsApp, so cool. Communicate more there. So apart from that, yeah, I think I'm halfway to the up lead for Project Genius. And Kamal here is our co-up lead, he's technical lead. So I don't Kamal, you like to go next?
Kamal, are you there?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Alfred. Good morning, Tabs. So yeah, as Alfred mentioned, Aliyu Kamal my name, and I'm an AI software engineer, also a blockchain developer. I I think when it comes to blockchain, I work in different. I built on different blockchain from uh, from Cardano, ICP, and Bitcoin as well. And currently, I'm working on a project called Credence. Credence is a decentralized platform that allow users to have one single verification that they can use across various platforms. So right here in from where I came from my locality, a lot of people have issue when it comes to getting the highest tire that we have in banks and some businesses. So when user wants to create an account and back the maximum tire they mostly reach is second tier, which has a very limit of transaction. And you see that a lot of people usually have more than one account. Like me personally, I have up to three accounts, which I'm using them for different cases. I have Probidos, UBA, and OP. I use Probidos because their card support international transaction. Can use it to make international transaction. So I verified when I have my first account was UBA. I did my KYC, because I have some government ID and stuff like that. I reached up to tier three, which give me the capacity to transact close to 5 M a day. But when I come to use OPay, because OPay for every Nigerian, I think that they know OPay. OPay has the fastest transaction network, meaning you can transact and the charges are very less. So a lot of people want to go back to using OPay. But the thing is that I have a very high tire on UBA, but my OPay is still tier two, meaning I can transact only 200,000 naira a day, which is like the limit is very, very low. And up to now, I couldn't upgrade my account because what OP are requesting to verify me up to that tire level, I don't have it. I don't own my own house, so I don't have any NEPA bill, electricity bill, or something like that I can use for that, and I can't use someone else's document for that. So if UBA as a bank institution can verify me, which I think UBA is more legalized, more standard than OP, then why can't OP verify me to that certain level? And they are literally requesting the same thing when it comes to verification. When you want to verify your account, or even on blockchain apps, when you want to do KYC, the same information that this app, decentralized app asks you is the same thing that the other will ask you. Then why can't we have a decentralized system that, okay, once you verified in this app, you don't have to do it in any other app again. We just use that verification data that you have to verify you on any other app. So that's the idea behind Credence. And for people that have no government ID to get verified on those platforms, we kind of introduce a community voting. I stay close to Alfred. I don't have government ID, but Alfred have government ID. There are a lot of people that have government ID within that place. They can vote for me that, yeah, this is where I'm staying. So in that case, I can get verified without having any government ID, and I can do whatsoever I want because Alfred and other people in my community vote for me, know that, yeah, this is where Kamal is born, this is where he's seen, and that's the whole idea behind that KYC. So yeah, that's Credence. So
That's
in from the technical perspective, we sort of using we try to you know as much as we can to see that we use alternative data to verify the user rather than completely relying on government ID from your mobile footprint. That's your digital footprint. I mean your mobile data and other data like that to verify the user up to some certain levels. And we also use AI to fasten the process. As I mentioned, I that was my first role. So that's what my first tech track AI. I do build AI application and then transition to building blockchain. So in anything that I do, I try to see I merge them all together. Meaning building a blockchain app that has AI integrated on it, trying to solve real life society problem using these cutting edge technologies that we have.
yeah, very cool, very cool. So I'm holding it as like a reputation-based KYC.
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair? That's cool. Good to meet you, Kamal. Thanks for being here. How are you
Thanks,
finding
Tabs.
the program so far?
Pardon?
How are you finding the program so far? Cats with the hackathons and stuff.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I think it's my network. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, maybe it's me. Um, I was asking how are you finding the program so far, the Cats program?
It's actually very, very, very interesting. One, because I mean, I get to interact with a lot of people that have different ideas. As Alfred mentioned, I'm the technical lead, so I can say that any other project coming from our hub, I have hand on it. either directly or indirectly, because I do support them when it comes to building the technical aspect of the solution. A lot of people are developers there, but they don't have experience building on the ecosystem. Some of them don't have experience building on blockchain entirely, not only the ecosystem. So it's actually nice seeing that I help people bring their idea into reality or into an existing solution, and mingling with different minds like Alfred and other commits co-organizers that we are working together with. It's actually a very nice experience. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Mind mingling. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being here. All right, so Echo, Mr. Harding, and Abdul Rahman, would you two like to introduce yourselves, and then we'll build an agenda and start that part.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so my name is Eko Harden. Honestly, whenever I'm told to introduce myself, I don't know what stuff. Because like I'm basically interested in a lot of things. Like there's not just one particular thing I find myself doing. So I think from the perspective of action learning journey, I would say I'm a past student of ALJ, which was hosted in Accra somewhere in May, June, thereabouts. Yeah, my team happened to be Team Carpool, and we are currently like rebranding to Urban Link because we are trying to put like an actual solution on grounds too. And I'll happen to be like the project lead. And because of the project we had, I had to also start learning UI UX design. So I'll be working on the project as also like the UI UX designer myself. We have about I think about three to four other team members. As I mentioned, about two or three of them will be working as the developers. Then the other two will be working as community managers. So from our discussion earlier, community managers will be more or less like in regards to the community, taking feedback from them, working with them. So responses, if there is any survey they have to send or anything. So that would basically be doing. Aside that, I'm very interested in this whole blockchain thing, and I'm still figuring out like what exactly is it that I'm supposed to be doing in the blockchain. Because when it comes to theory based, I'm very good with it, but when it comes to the technical aspect of it, I've been trying to read on what ICANN is. I've started just like about a week or two ago. I've started like taking a course on Haskell. So I'm just in the ecosystem, just trying out. Aside that, so yeah, putting in proposals and all. But like aside that, I'm just figuring out stuff. Yeah, I believe I'm still young, so thank you, and it's nice meeting each and every one of you.
Thanks, Echo. Good to have you here. Abdul Rahman. Hello, bro, and sorry for keeping you in the waiting room for an extended period of time. I hadn't seen it. I was in the abstract. Are you there, Abdul Rahman? You're still on mute if you're speaking. You may be busy. Okay. Let's proceed, and please, Abdul Rahman, if you can either write into the chat or just unmute, let me know if you're there. Um, let's quickly spend a few minutes on who would like to bring something into the session today. Alfred has already said that he'd like to bring the documentation that they're working on, and this particular point of having moved the docs into a different repo and how they're trying to work on that. Okay, cool. So Abdul Rahman says it's noisy. Please continue, and he'll come in whenever they leave. Cool. Thanks for sending that. Echo, is there anything you want to bring in from your side, from your project that you're currently working on at the moment? Any challenge or anything like that? Any questions you want to ask? Yeah, please feel free to add those to the agenda.
I don't think in regards to the work we are working on, I don't think there is any challenge in codes currently, because as I said, the developers are on standby. Yeah.
Okay.
But aside, I think Abdul Rahman, I don't know whether Abdul Rahman wanted to talk about it or he has informed you yet, but in regards to cards, those who do not have like physical hubs, I think we spoke quite extensively on Wednesday or Tuesday, one of them. Yeah, we spoke extensively about it and came to some certain agreements too. So I don't know whether he has spoken to you about it or I think aside that,
I don't know of any agreements in particular, but we've spoken about it a little bit. So yeah, that would be a good thing to bring up for sure. I think it would make sense to do Alfred's first, if that would be all right.
oh yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so let's try and leave 10-15 minutes at the end, or more, depending on how much time the documentation takes. So, Alfred, could you set the context for us, either Alfred or Kamal, and we can get started on that.
Okay, yeah. I'll set the context. So, yeah, the context is to my understanding of the documentation, which when I reached out to Tabs, it kind of now explained to me, it wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking the repo that we forked, there is a way, like there is a connection that is being there's a relationship within our own repo when we're working on our documentation, and then the Prisma repo, so it means where anything we are doing on that repo is automatically reflecting, or there's a data point that Prisma is collecting from that repo. So when Kamal kind of pushed it to a different repo, not that same repo we forked, I was thinking that okay, something must have broken here, a connection or relationship must have broken here. So I was interested in knowing what that effect will be. So when I reached out to Tabs, so when you explained to me, I think the relationship there was if there was a new update in the original repo, from the Prisma end, it's so that we could easily reflect it, by syncing the repo on our own. So if that is the case, I don't know. It depends on the developer now, because that's Kama. That's why I wanted him to be on the session. So it depends on the developer, and I think that is to make the developer work easy. But Kama pushing it to his own personal repo, I feel that okay, that is more easier for him. So it's something that okay, maybe the this thing could be highlighted, the changes could be highlighted, and then could just go there, copy the code, and then paste it, and then he will know how to answer that part. So that's why I wanted him on the session. So that is on one side of it. But then when I get to find out again the relationship between the Prisma repo and the ops is just so that any changes that is being made on the original repo could reflect on our repo. I was now asking myself that how do Prisma now collect information from the ops that is going to be updated in the potentialized app, where the ops is, the teams is, and those things are. So like where the map is, the world, the globe map. So how do this Prisma collecting that data, because I was thinking it was automatically through the repo. Maybe there was an API endpoint that any deals we're making there, and maybe we are updating our teams, we are updating our calls, updating our grand research, feed research. So those videos could automatically reflect on on the map. So if that is not the case, it means, is it done manually? Like, maybe, for example, are you able to get our deployed link? You send out the form, and then we fill the form, and then it's being updated there. So, like, and I went on the map. I saw, for example, there are some ops that I know they have hosted more than, like, both online and physical. I think they have hosted like up to like 5 to 10 in activities already, but on the map it's showing zero. Some people are still showing zero. So I don't know how will those data be collected. So if it's through manual process, I think we now have to like discuss on how we could automate those process. How that, I think that takes us back to the first discussion we have in how we could bring all this flow together. So that is the context of the discussion. So that's why I want Kamal to be here, so that someone with a developer experience, maybe he will have more answer to such questions.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a good context. So what I can say, I was looking in the WADA GitHub as you were talking, because I was trying to find an example of how GitHub helps to recognize the upstream repo after you've done a fork, and it says this repository was forked from that repository, basically. And I couldn't find it for some reason, but it would basically just be a button that links the two. The reason why that's helpful is because if we do some work on the docs or any other app, and we think this would be really helpful for the hubs to receive, we can send some kind of communication out and say, hey, pull these latest changes. And then when you pull the latest changes from the upstream repo, it will help you to manage the merge conflicts, because there will be changes in your repo and changes in the upstream repo. So how you merge them is always like a headache. Handling merge conflicts is like such a pain. And so for GitHub to help with that is one way that it might be a little bit easier. So that was that's one reason for keeping them connected. And then a second reason is we're not very decided at the moment on how open source we want to be. And I say that because the purpose of our work, as you're starting to see, is kind of deep, and what we want to protect against is for the software, the apps, to be used outside of the context of working on local systems. And the forking of the repos, how we deploy the apps to the hubs, is basically making it very, very open. And once we've deployed it, because it's hosted on their infrastructure and they have the source code, they can basically do whatever they like with it. If they wanted to, they could just share it wherever, and then the boundary of where that code exists is lost. So we don't really have a very strong process there at the moment. But to keep the repos connected is one way to try and support that purpose. But yeah, at the moment we're still so early stage that like it doesn't really it would be fine. Like if it is such a benefit to do it in your own personal repo, then I wouldn't block that. And we also did that in Accra in the event that Abdul Rahman and Echo were part of. And yeah, so that's the reasoning from our side. And then that's addressing the point of why the connection between the repos, but then you also talked about the data, and on the map how it currently says 0, even though you know there's like maybe 5 plus. The numbers on the map comes from it's just a counter of how many people have clicked those buttons. So how many people have clicked to go to the Project Genius hub from the map. To the Project Genius docs from the map, and to the Project Genius Telegram, to the scheduling from the map. So it's not like a very strong metric in that sense. And what you were talking to, Alfred, is actually much more sophisticated, which is how we send data between the hub's app instances and any of the Prisma apps instances. And it gets philosophical there as well, because we want that relationship to be one where the hubs choose what data they publish, not that Prisma monitors everything and has this like oversight on everything, because that's very top down. So we haven't really built that yet, but that's a really interesting area of work for sure.
Okay. Okay, I understand that. I understand. Okay, Kamal, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So just to clarify on the why our local hub doc is not I'm not I'm not pushing to the fork repo from the um sorry from the Prisma main repo. The issue is that when I try to deploy, because I initially pushed all the changes made to the organization repo, which was forked from the Prisma repo. But the thing is that when I want to deploy the app on Vessel, for you to deploy repo or anything on Vessel, you have to be on the premium version, as far as not a personal account that you are using for that. And we forked the Prisma repo using organization account, which was the um, Project Genius organization account on GitHub. So that's why I decided to just clone it and push it to my personal account and deploy it to Vessel. So to tackle that issue, I think the best way, I don't know how other hubs manage to do that. Maybe they fork the repo directly to their personal account, not organization account. So to do that, maybe we can be syncing all the repos at the same time. So meaning if we have any changes on our local repo, we'll have that same change on the POC repo from the organization account. Then for the syncing, I have an approach that I think we can follow to achieve that, because I once worked on something like that. I think we can use the sync pipeline. We can use the sync pipeline via GitHub Action. I don't know whether perhaps you worked on that before. So you see each local hubs, like all the hubs, when they pushes their docs to their all repo, so we can have like we can make the GitHub action to trigger a pull request directly or a data push to the Prisma account. Sorry, to the Prisma repo. Like maybe it can be a JSON or Markdown content. Mostly, so it's Markdown content. We pull that, and the Prisma hub will auto pitch need the new data via the schedule GitHub action, or maybe we can use a webhook for that in order to populate the data on the Prisma repo. So I think that's one of the easiest approach that we can follow to achieve that. But if we're going to go more deep, that's where we can use what Alfred mentioned initially, using a shared backend, or maybe an API gateway. So instead of every doc being isolated, we have a central backend, which can be it can even be a JSON file on the GitHub pages, so that local hub post their update, and we automatically pitch the update via the API endpoint. So I don't know whether that makes sense, but I think that's a way also to achieve that.
Yeah, this. Okay, thanks for sharing that. It's interesting. Can you show me? Are you by your computer and are you able to share screen so that we can have a look at it together? I just want to see where Vercel is saying it needs to be a paid plan. That might be I know they've recently changed their plans, so it might be a recent thing. I'm just
Oh,
wondering.
I'm not on my computer, but I think I know that since, because this not a recently changes. Whenever you are pushing something, whenever you are deploying something on Bristle, it has to be a personal account as far as you are not on a premium version.
Okay. So wait, is it the GitHub account or the Vercel account?
No, the GitHub account. The GitHub account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think you can take a look. You can check their documentation or about Vessel. You will see that, because I know that since it's not now that they introduced that, so you can you can deploy it from organization account when you are on the freemium version of Vessel. You have to be on the premium version before you can do that.
I feel that there is a mistake somewhere because um, most other ops are actually deploying from an organization account. Even when we fork the repo, when we test it out, it's actually deployed. I think the mistake is from our end because it was me and Morgan that started the process, and we have like the process. It was already working. We deployed the organization. We added the organization accounts on Vercel, and we copied the deployed link, and it was working. So then we handed it over to you to do the editing because we were trying to use Obsidian, but it was like okay, it was looking like we have to take another week or 2 weeks to learn how to use this Obsidian. So it was looking like okay, we're trying to meet up with time now. We don't have time for that. So let's just hand it over to technical
No,
person
so
and he
here
should,
is the thing,
use
Alfred.
Visual Studio.
Sorry to
Okay.
interrupt you. The reason why you can deploy it because you are the owner. It's either you or Morgan that
Yeah.
deploy it because you are the owner. I was added as a contributor to the organization, so that's what I'm saying. I can't
Okay.
deploy it,
It's the
but you
deployment.
as the
Yeah.
Oh,
owner, you can do that.
okay. Okay. I
Sorry, I think I'm
understand
the one
now.
that didn't make it clear when saying it. I'm not saying like you can do it
Uh,
completely. I
Okay.
think tabs, that's where you're having
yeah.
confusion. Yeah. I think if you are the owner of both the organization and the vessel account, you can, because it's more of like your personal. stops too. But as far as you add someone as contributor, he can't.
No, it makes lots of sense now. I understand.
Yeah.
So the mistake was we did not follow the process. Like the process Prisma gave to us, we didn't follow it like judiciously. So I see.
No,
I
I
see.
think it's what Kamal is saying is that, like, and I think we've had this issue before as well, only commits from the owner of the Vercel account will be deployed, and then I think you have to pay for every additional member for those commits to be deployed as well. Yeah, we faced the same issue as well, where when I was then asking for other people to write to the docs, none of their changes would be deployed until I then made a commit and then it deployed everything. Is that what you're saying, Kamal?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah, that is really annoying. How do we do that? Oh, wow. Mhm.
Okay, but Alfred, between you and Morgan, who have the GitHub account that has the organization?
Yeah, it was me that created the account.
Okay, so I think we have two ways to solve this. One is either if I have to continue to take control of the deployment, I have to fork the repo personally to my GitHub account personally, so that whenever we have changes, it reflects there. Or I push the code whenever I made the changes. You
Mhm.
have to be the one deploying the app from your end, or maybe sharing your vessel's credential. So that
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
deploying from your account, not from my personal account. Or you'll be deploying from your end using the account.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, that is a solution. But at the moment, can we do that? Because we are currently using the Progenius domain. Like,
Yeah, we can do that.
will that
Connect
make any
domain.
difference?
Domain is just connecting. I'll just break the connection from my end, remove the DNS and others. So we will connect it with the one that you deployed from your end. You don't have to worry
Oh,
about
okay.
that. The,
Yeah,
the
maybe
about the
we'll work
domain
on that.
name. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, work on that this evening after this call.
Mhm.
But it's a
Yeah.
very valid point. That's like a serious limitation of us using Vercel. We have a big task to rebuild everything without using Vercel, but we don't have the resources for that currently. We need to hire developers. Um, yeah, try that workflow where Alfred commits a change after any, or even if Alfred just makes some updates. Maybe you could write a script which just patches the increments the patch version um, of the docs of the project, like at the end of the day or something. So once a day at least, all the changes will be pushed. Um, but yeah, this is all a little bit like scrappy. So my apologies. Um, Let me know how you get on with that workflow, the workaround. And if you want to do it from your personal repo, then just do that. Um, yeah, the data will still be able to connect it via APIs if we do more of that.
Mhm. Yeah, we will work on that. I think there are a lot of solutions to that. There are a lot. So
Okay. I'm wondering if you would face the same issue. Then if it's in your personal repo, Kamal, if Alfred makes changes, would they also be blocked then? or would it go through because it's a personal project?
It will. I never tried that before, but I think it will be blocked.
You think it will be? Okay, so then let's address the workaround for the organization repo. Yeah, I'll put a note and try to for us to talk about that in Prisma as well. All right. Okay. Because in the future as well, I'm thinking you're going to have potentially several teams writing to the docs as well. So this is going to be something that needs addressing for sure. But I think this workaround, there must be a workaround. How are things going so far with the teams? Like have any started to form? How developed is that process? And how are you thinking about writing the teams projects into the docs?
Well, for the teams, the process, because we noticed that it will take more time. It will take like up to 2 to 3 weeks to start, even 1 month to start. Educating them, orienting them about how to go about the Obsidian, or how to like commit to the GitHub. So what we did, the process we came up with was like, okay, we handled that part. So we created a tally form where we'll send to them. They fill any information they want to add to us, and they send it to us, and then we give it over to Kama. So Kama could pick it up and then update it on the docs.
Yeah. Okay. So then Kamal is like the scribe for the whole of the hub.
Yes.
Yeah. That works. Cool. Okay. All right. Cool. Does that feel like that's answered your question for now?
Yeah, it has answered. That is the first part. But the other question is, how will data be? I'm coming. Let me share my screen.
Yeah. Oh, I might need to enable it. Yeah.
Okay. Come in.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment now, this is the WADA map, the potentialized app. So at the moment, for example, Teams over here. So at the moment, even in Project Genius Hub, there are still new members coming up. Like for example, the studio session we held yesterday. We used a tech hub, and there were members there. And after our discussion, our interaction, there were about 2 to 3 people that was not interested in joining the hackathon, and they were asking if they could join. I told them yes, it's open. So we are still actively currently registering teams and new members that's joining.
Yeah.
So now, I'll feel on the team and the registration, the ops should be given the free chance, the freedom to handle that part as they want. So and then Prisma could get data from them, because at the moment that it was Prisma and WADA that handled the registration. So when the session was closed, new members can't join in. So I feel since the ops are on the ground members, they should be the one handling that part. So, but then the question now comes in: how are those data collected? Since it's an ongoing situation, ongoing stuff. because new teams will surely come. In fact, if 1 week to the deadline, to the casting deadline, there are some people that will want to still participate and feel they have a chance on creating something before then. And I've seen lots of time, they might even end up winning because they came up with a good project. So
Yeah.
at the moment, that will be a lot of stress for Prisma to be collecting it using forms, sending out forms every time. Okay, fill this form so that I can pick it and come and put it here. So I was thinking, and I thought that process was already available, whereby Prisma could get data. Let's say for a team now, maybe there's a new team registered. So if the app add it on their doc, then automatically it will reflect on the app. But it seems that's not the case. It seems we are collecting that information using maybe a form. They send them to fill a form. So I was thinking, is there a way that could be created where where these data can be automated, can be like collected live, ongoing?
Hmm.
Like let me go to ops also. Like for example, ops now I could see charts, docs, evaluation, meets. So I don't
Yeah.
know what this the rest means, but I'm referring to the meets. I'm thinking it's amount of times they have met, the events that they have had, like studio session,
Yeah.
workshops, online. So this information, how will it be collected? So I want to know
Hmm.
how data that are reflecting on this app, on this website, on the map, how is it being collected? Is it through manual process or it's automating through a backend?
It's it's through a backend. Yeah. Um. All right. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
We we did a session on this really early on, me and Abdul Rahman, where we talked about how this app was built. Um, and we went through like a system mapping diagram. Um, and uh, so yeah. So it shows how the data here. This is what I wanted to show. Um, and you can feel free to watch through this video if you want to understand deeper. It's not super necessary. But basically the data shown on the map comes from the hubs, the forms that we ask you to fill in. Plus the numbers are based on how many times people have clicked the buttons. So it's a very simple counter of how many times someone has clicked this button. You can see, interesting. Project Genius is here. Yesterday, Project Genius was the second one. So that's curious. But yeah, you can see here Project Genius has 4. That's because someone has clicked, or 4 people have clicked this button. So it's a very trivial counter. And the data for that number, it goes to the same place as where the forms go. And that's how this goes together. So to collect all of the teams, what I was thinking of doing is to add a form to the participant sign up. Currently it's closed, but we could reopen it with a team registration form, and then all of that data would basically be sent to the backend, and it would get listed on this team section here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of doing. So it wouldn't be too much hassle. However, that's kind of like a shortcut versus asking the hubs to make their own team registration forms, which would be a lot more decentralized. And that would be better, I think. This relates to a question that, when Boaz asked his question, and I said, "Oh, we're wondering if the hubs would be able to model themselves." It's in the Hub Leads chat from the 1st of December, a few days ago. It's that same kind of thing where it would be much more decentralized for the hubs to write their own team registration forms and then send that data to the map. But we're not really ready to do that yet with the
Okay.
tech.
Oh, so one more thing, I'm just wondering, once you start collecting team formation, registered, and it's being shown on the map. So each team will have their own tab on their up documentation. Like, so maybe a team and the team members and everything. So is there a way, or are you thinking of adding, once you see a team, that how you can click on each hub and you go to that documentation? Will each team also have a place where they click and they can go to the specific tab where each team information is on the hub documentation?
Ah, oh, nice, nice, nice. We could do that. Yeah, yeah, we could do it. So it would be the same thing. We would just ask the teams to submit a link, and then we would just connect the link to that button for the team card.
Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking very advanced. I like it. Well, yeah, we need to design the forms and we need to get them started so that teams can register.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Or yeah, if it would either be a link to somewhere in the hub docs or something else. But yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, Abdul Rahman, welcome.
Sorry, I was okay, thank you. It was very noisy where I was, so I couldn't.
No worries. All good.
I was following, so
Glad you made it now. Yeah. So, Alfred, this will be one of the next things that we sort of like communicate as an update for how the teams are able to register. Yeah, did that answer your question on that as well? Is there anything else?
Yeah, it does. And one last question. How
Yeah.
because at the moment now we have, let's say, at the moment, if we're a Genius Hub, 40 to 50% of our current active, team participants, in a team, did not register through the WADA. Like, they didn't register. It was already closed before, they joined in. Because, some especially developers, when it comes to, like, oh, you are doing orientation call, you are doing onboarding, you might not get their attention. It's when the activities begins. That is when they'll now, okay, start being active. So most of the developers did not register. It was the scribers, the documenters, like the non-technical people that was doing registration then. So now that activities has actually begun, that okay, now they can start coding, they can start building. They're not being committed. So I want to know what is the process for for teams that didn't register, for participants that didn't register. So even without registering as a participant, will you be able to still be part of a team, register as a team?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should allow that. Yeah.
Okay, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that settles it. Thank you.
We had the reason why we closed the participant registration form is because we thought if we keep it open and we keep having new people join, and they keep coming into the calls and asking questions as if it's day one, then actually that and Abdul Rahman, sorry bro, I'm gonna mute you if that's okay. I think we can hear the background noise. That's all right.
Is it a task or is it a task that moving or not?
Sorry?
Are you hearing the class moving around?
No, it's the people talking.
Oh,
But it's all right. If you're on mute when you're not talking, then it's fine.
is it better? Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's better now. So yeah, the reason why we closed it is because we needed to basically build up the intentionality with the people that had already joined. And if we're always having new people coming in, it's that same thing of there's no boundary of the process has started. You know, if it's constantly just restarting, then nothing actually builds up. But now we don't want to like block people from participating, especially not the developers. So I think the team's registration will be like it would just be a very open forum as well. And we will communicate it with the hubs. So we won't broadcast it in the same way like on Twitter and things, anyone join. It will be directly with the people that are already in the program. And so hopefully that makes it a bit more focused. But yeah, it's still open.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm excited to have the data mapped out for the teams as well. I think it's going to look really cool. Awesome. Okay. So then now I think if that's all the questions, we have time for a little bit of time for the points that Abdul Rahman and Echo wanted to bring about the how to support the participants that don't have a local hub, which is such a super important perspective. So, would either of you like to set the context for that one, please, and then we'll get into that. And thanks, Alfred and Kamal, for bringing those things.
Sorry, Tabs, can you come again, please?
Yeah. So at the start of the call, we were talking about what we want to cover in this call, and Harding mentioned that you might like to bring your points about what you're working on to support the participants without a hub.
Oh, okay.
So if there's any, if there's any questions or any challenges or just anything that you want to share or ask for, then yeah, this is the chance. Okay, over to you. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, please. I have to change my position. There's noise around. I didn't
Cool.
say noise.
Did you say you didn't hear me?
Yeah, because of the noise. I have to
Okay. So I was saying, yeah, now is would be a great time to bring in what you're working on about how to support people without a hub. And any way that we can support in that, just let us know.
As we discussed earlier, the thought of you realize that during the calls, the onboarding calls, and even after the onboarding calls, there are people asking questions about they being in locality where there are no hubs and how can they participate
Doraman, sorry to interrupt you, bro. Is there any way that you can speak louder or speak closer to the mic? It's coming through a little bit quiet.
Can you hear me? Is it better now?
I think so, yeah, a bit better.
Okay, I think I have to raise my voice.
Mm.
So these people, we realize people are asking more questions about how can they participate since they are in a locality or environment where there is no hubs or the hubs are very far away from them and they can't participate. So we thought we could just assist them with um, online services or online supports so they can get they should be able to also participate or get a full support that the people with the hubs are getting. So yeah, that's what started all this. And I spoke with Haden. I think that was Tuesday. And we spoke earlier last weekend and we spoke on Tuesday too. And we decided on how to start everything or onboard this. And I also speak to you. I want to ask Alfred, I think it's a very good time, and since he's here, I want to know where your teams are, and so far, have you gone very far have the team gone very far in their projects? Alfred, are you here, please? Yeah, I think he's a little bit busy.
It's a question for Alfred, right?
Yes.
Alfred, are you there?
Because the reason I'm asking this is I think he's a little bit busy. I've spoken to some of the people and they feel like they are a little bit set up. So I want to know, I'm just motivating them to let them know that they can still proceed with their ideas and everything. So I was just asking Alfred to see if maybe there's how far the team has gone through it. So maybe I will help me support or with the rest of the teams that's going to.
Yeah, so maybe if, for example, Alfred says, it's still early stage, you can say to the teams, it's still early stage, don't worry, it's not like they've got fully formed projects already and things like that. Is that what you're thinking? So Alfred, are you there?
Okay, so I think you've answered the question, perhaps so.
Well, I think Alfred answered it earlier when he said that there's still a lot of time that's I mean, they haven't done the hackathon yet, and people are still engaging with the exercises of like walking the community, and the developers. There's new people still wanting to join. So all of those things indicate to me that it's still it's not too late for teams to form, new teams to form, and people to join.
I think it's really hard for the teams or the individuals are speaking to, feeling down and telling them that there's the accountability. So this will also to keep them active and activate this game. And I think talking to our children to also doing this and
Yeah. Have you managed to speak with any individuals besides Accra?
I don't beside Accra, don't in I was expecting that I'll get some text from main chat. So far,
Yeah,
no one texted me yet. So,
interesting.
but yeah, no one texted me from the so don't know. For now, I don't know how we are going to be able to reach out to those individuals that are not having apps and are willing to participate or having a great idea or join a great team to do something. But
Hmm.
as it goes on, I think we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe you could send a quick message to the big group to say, like, please reach out if I can support you in any way, even if that's just to check in and things like that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. What about the individuals from Accra that you have spoken to? Um, what's
There's some of
their
them,
intentions?
well, the intention is okay, some of them looking to me about some great ideas and stuff, and then we spoke about some people can really speak out something. But it's just that they are not in team, they are on their own.
Mm,
So I was looking to form a team because it's like they are in separate locations. So each person has his idea and is making it. And they have a team with just one individual.
I don't know yet, but I don't think we would recognize that as a team then, no. What we've been advising is to try and aim to have about 5 people.
So that's the thing. So you just individuals like this, if I can get other people even for different locality that don't even have an idea or something like this, they can join these people to work if that's possible. Because I think Accra is having the participants in Accra are very few, very few. So if they should be a team like that, if they should all come together as a team, then they really want team.
Yeah. It could be one team all within the context of Accra as a whole. Okay, see you, Alfred. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
So yeah, it could be a team working on Accra as a whole. If that's the context that is common across all of them, then maybe they could do that, but that's a big project. I feel like at this stage, a good step for you to be able to work on this aspect of the program would be to gather more information from those types of participants, from participants without a hub, to gather more information. So maybe we need a forum for those people in particular. You're muted. You're muted.
So that's it. We could also do that to get so so I'm sure when we start, there will be individuals with hubs that also left to join. So, I don't know how we should deal with we could adjust on how we maybe some may just join to just see if we get some kind of place, some to join to see. What if it has some ideas? In such a scenario, if people with hubs join?
If people, what was your question? Sorry.
It can be sending the message post in the main group, like right now, there's a possibility that people who are already in hubs will join this.
Yeah.
So what do you do exactly?
I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question fully. Are you saying? Yeah, I don't think I understand your question.
Okay, let's see. Someone is in a locality where they
In a locality where they what?
There is a hub.
There is a hub, yeah.
Yeah, decided to join this.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we do in Saxony?
What do we do in this instance with them?
Yes.
Well, then, if they join with a hub, do you mean if there wasn't previously a hub in that region?
There is a hub in that region, but for some reason, we just decided to join this online support because we'll be putting them into teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they join the support circle that you're creating and they have a hub in their region, then what I would do is just try and put them in touch with the hub. Yeah. Because then the hub can help to organize that.
And also on our Tuesday calls with Paddy, are you here?
Yeah.
Paddy?
Oh.
Paddy, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I couldn't hear anything.
It was difficult to hear him, yeah. I didn't know what he was asking you, so let's just wait for him to rejoin. Abdurrahman.
hello, can you
That sounds like a very lively discussion happening.
Oh, no, no. Yeah,
Um,
wants to get the money first.
Yeah, can you reframe or can you restate your question to Echo, please? To Harding.
Okay. All right.
But we can't hear you very easily.
We just,
Try again. Yeah, try.
can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Uh, whilst we were discussing on Tuesday, yeah, Echo, are you here?
I think he's here, yeah. He said something when you dropped off.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. What was that? I didn't catch you.
What's your question to him?
He brought an idea that we should separate the teams like into group where I handle one and he also handle another.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I wanted him to elaborate more on that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, what I think could work actually, because you're right, we kind of want to try and engage teams that don't have a hub rather than individuals that don't have a hub. Because if we try to engage all of the individuals that don't have a hub now, it's a bit late in the process to try and work with them. I think the whole, like how you're describing already, you have a few people in Accra, but they're working in different contexts, and that's a huge amount to try and facilitate across multiple countries when we have just about 10 days left before the deadline for team formation. So I think we should approach this in terms of trying to get in contact with people that have already formed teams in their cities, but there's no hub. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense.
But now I'm thinking, would that be leaving people out, the individuals?
So it's so even if they do not form teams, and then they just like I know one guy who was came up with an idea, something similar, a great idea for a place, and he's alone, and you have others who are interested in working with him, then we can just match them.
Hmm.
So he has a team because he can't work alone.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's tricky because if we have teams form with people from different places, then those projects will not be able to align with the principles that we're trying to build from very easily. Do you know what I mean?
So,
Are you saying that we should try and support people to form teams with others in different places?
yes.
Yeah. What I'm saying is those teams. Hmm. Yeah, I think it wouldn't be possible to guide the work so that they're working on local systems. I think it would make it more likely that they start to work on ideas that are not necessarily coming from local systems because they're across lots of different places. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, since my internet is unstable, if I heard you right, you're saying what you're trying to say is that since they are coming from different places, it won't match the idea for solving issues in the community.
Yeah. So that means
So
there's
what
kind of
would this individual
go on.
continue?
No, you go. What would these individuals do?
We also this what would this individual to be?
What they could do is try to onboard more individuals from their place. Because if what we're effectively saying is there's a minimum of like needing to have at least 5 people from the same place so that you form a team in that place. Because then we can work with them as a team. Then if there's just one individual in one place, our advice to them can be to try and bring more people in so that they form a team.
So what if these people are not have not registered for cards?
The new people.
That's not. Yeah.
So I'm laughing because like it feels like a little bit like we're crossing our own boundaries if we reopen things up again, but I feel like it would be good to reopen things up again. I mean, it relates with Alfred's point earlier where he said when they were doing the sign up, it was mostly the non-technical people that were engaging and the developers have not signed up yet. And he said, so can they still join a team? And I was like, yeah, because we'll make the team registration form a new form, and new people, if they join, they can just join as part of that team. So I think it could be the same thing with those. So okay, what I'm seeing is starting to emerge is that we need to make the team form, and we need to publish that so that people can start signing up. And then you need to engage as many of those people as possible that don't yet have a hub, don't yet have a team, or maybe they are part of a local team without a hub, and say to them, this is the chance now to register with a team. And if you don't have a hub, we're still here to actively support you because there's this no hub service that you're starting. Do you see what I mean? So we have those two things kind of coming together at the same time. One is the team registration form, and the other is all of these people that you're gathering to bring into the process.
So means the application form being for them. So meaning the application form.
Yeah. Did you say making an application for people to join?
Yeah, I mean like example, the people within a place. This guy is in, let me use example, Tamadi, where he is working on a project, but he's alone. And then he's alone and he's the only one who has registered around his community or locality. So if you can get about 3 people to join him, to join and work on that same team project, and then after whilst they are doing, there will be an opportunity for them to register the cards.
Yeah,
I
I will make the registration form live by the end of this week. I was going to say today, but I think maybe by the end of tomorrow. And then it will stay live until December 15th. So that's the final deadline. After that point, there's no more program for any new people. So they need to find their additional new team members, and they need to register. But then I'm thinking, like, there's going to be a lot of questions from those people of how do we work on these projects? How do we do the process? And that's going to be part of your responsibility if you bring them in to help guide them through that work, which is really exciting and powerful work for you to do.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. I was going to say something like, if they register, before they even register, these people can find teams and work with them. And if they're able to work with teams and show something, then we open the registration form for them. But then you also said you'll be opening it by the end of this week, and it will be open to December 15th. That's also great. I said what I said earlier. So new participant that comes in wouldn't be flooding us with a lot of questions. Okay, since the docs is available, they can go and watch the docs, and I think it's cool. It can be okay. It can be done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's do that then. We've got a plan of action. Sweet. All right, then let's wrap it up. And I need to jump. I need to go. But thank you both. This was fun.
Thank you too.
And reach out if I can be of support in any way.
Thank you. You're doing really great for that.
Thank you, man. You too. Cheers. See you later.
Okay. Cheers. Yeah.